We have got Tony Meola, who captained the US men's national team at the 1994 World Cup in the States. Nigel Reo-Coker, who wore the armband for England under-21s at Wembley. The first ever match, by the way, for England at Wembley. And Darian Jenkins as well, who captained multiple times in the women's game. So three well-established captains for this Captain's Corner. Tones, we want to talk about the difference, really, between captaining domestically and then at the international level. What does it take to be a captain in the biggest tournament in world football, like the World Cup?
Yeah, I never thought about it like separating from club and country, right, until we were talking about it in the green room. And I think they're totally different. Right. When you're with your club, it's an everyday thing. You're kind of looking around the dressing room. You're the eyes and ears maybe for the manager. If there's a problem with the team, you have more communication with the manager. My experience at the international level was you were just sort of a figurehead, like a leader, because you're not around the guys all the time. You really can't influence how things are done on a daily basis. You don't see them all that much. And in 1994, we had a different dynamic. We had half the team that was playing in the U.S., and then we didn't see the international guys. But I was one of the only guys, it was myself and Marcelo Balboa pretty much, that had played with both sets of guys. So it was like the bridge between the two. So maybe it was a little different responsibility than some, but I think you have more of an influence at the club level, because you're there every day, you're hearing about who's got an issue and who's got to probably put your arm around them, that type of thing. And at the international level, you're just kind of that guy, the guy who speaks last, right, before you got to the dressing room. And I always took it as an honor that the coach thought that that was a responsibility that they thought that I could handle. And it was a pretty big honor, because when I think of the number of people who have played in the World Cup relative to the people who have played soccer is very little. The number of people that have captained in a World Cup is even smaller. And then the number of people that have captained a home side in a World Cup is even smaller. So for me, it's just a huge honor. Yeah,
it was the perfect mix. Did you feel more pressure, by the way, at a World Cup?
No, because I thought I had a pretty good grasp of all the players. You know, we all respected each other. I've told you off air that 94 team was as close a team as I have ever been on. Right. And yeah, maybe there was a little bit, that was the youth in us, if you will, like that really meant something. So, yeah, I didn't feel any more pressure other than you're always at the press conference. You're always doing the appearances at the embassies when you go someplace. You know, you're doing all those things. But, no, I didn't. That group was so good.
What about you, Nigel? Because the unique thing about your story in particular is how young you were when you were given the captain's armband. We always talk about managers and do they have the respect of the changing room being a young manager. Was it difficult for you to be a young captain in any way?
Probably I wasn't thinking about it. I just knew what I was. And people have always complimented me to say I was a natural born leader. So first you have to earn the respect of your teammates, and then that's what it is, what Tony says, the familiarity. So it's how you carry yourself in the training ground, how you train, how you apply yourself, and how you play in the games. Then your teammates have to respect you, because the manager made that decision and gave me the responsibility to be captain. And then the teammates fall in line because they see that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be, and I'm acting like the leader that a leader's supposed to be. Like Tony says, that when you make that transition to international level, it's different. You're not with these guys as much. You don't know the personalities really deep. I feel there's more responsibility, more pressure, because it's international football, and it's also you are more of a figurehead. And it's kind of getting that balance right of being the figurehead, the leader, more from a footballing standpoint than really a chemistry and a togetherness as you would have in a domestic level. So I think that the level of responsibility is a lot higher international level compared to domestic club-wise, because also you've got to deal with bigger personalities. These are supposed to be the best of the best, representing the nation. So there's bigger personalities, bigger egos, and bigger characters that you have to deal with, who some might have a big personality like yourself. So then there's more pressure to manage these players in a dressing room than there would be domestically, because domestic football, you're not all the best.
But by the way, was there a bigger honour to do it for your country over club football? Did you ever think about it that way, or were you more so just thinking it's an honour both ways to be club and country?
Yeah,
it's definitely an honor.
It's honor. Yeah. I think I took more pride in being a leader rather than a captain. A captain was a band that the manager gave me because he thought,
piece.
Yeah, and it looks nice in my trophy case now and all that stuff. But I think I took more pride in leading by example on a daily basis than I did wearing the armband. I felt like if I didn't have the armband, I would still have taken the same responsibility that I did, having an armband. I mean, no doubt, it's great, but that's how I looked at it.
From club to country, did you're saying, yes, there was a different type of responsibility and expectation, but did that change the way that you led in any way, being more vocal, or was it, I just have to lead by example?
No, it does change it because of the quality of players that you're playing with. So there's elements you have to do with it, but again, it's a case-by-case scenario. It depends on the squad of players that you're playing with and what sort of like. For instance, Micah Richards, I was his captain when he first came in to the England national team. So I was with Micah Richards, Ashley Young, James Milner, David Bentley, all of these players, I was their captain at international level. And I know they had different big personalities. The manager, Peter Taylor, encouraged us to socialise and hang out. At times, we probably got in a bit of trouble where we shouldn't have been, but we had a great chemistry and togetherness. And then
you leading by example in every way.
The chemistry and togetherness is a big part at international level. And we had a different feel in the under-21s than when I got called up to the senior side. And then like some of these past senior players are talking about now, about never really a togetherness, the North and South divide and different clubs. I saw that when I went to that senior team. And then obviously you heard the likes of Stevie Gerrard talk about it, how it was. That's the reality. So again, it's more of a case-by-case scenario and how managers work to get teams together. We talk about Gareth Southgate with what he did with England, getting them together, a more unified team. You talk about Thomas Tuchel now. So that plays a part. But there is a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Responsibility at international level than domestic level, because you're going to see these guys every day.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, because we didn't have sort of the hatred between clubs that they had there. And I saw Stevie G and I saw John Terry talk about it.
Jamie Carragher's
mentioned recently that you're killing each other in a derby or a big match on the weekend, and now you get together with the national team. See, we didn't have that element, right? You guys had that element to deal with, so that's got you. Like, I think the manager has to pick the right guy, because
it makes it tougher.
You're marrying those two groups
you have
for
to be a bit of a neutral.
10 days, maybe.
Because I was interested, even as an outsider looking in, listen to them say it was really difficult for them to put it aside. They couldn't. They were so invested in their Premier League clubs that they couldn't let it go when they got to England.
I found that so hard, though, because that's what I didn't understand myself. So obviously, again, the players that I played with was Leighton Baines and stuff. So we line up in the tunnel, we play in the Premier League game, and you want to have a laugh and a joke, and then they'll pretend like they didn't know you. They'll be like that. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, we played together for England. This is a different game, but still, we could still be able to be cordial. And I always find it fascinating when I look at the Brazilian players back in those days. They would embrace each other. It could be a Milan derby, and all the Brazilian legends would be embracing each other, still go and be competitive, but still have that greater connection to represent the nation. And England never had that, which was quite.
Do you think with England it's just proximity?
It's a bit of everything. I think it's been embedded in you. It's tribalism as well. The clubs, the cities, where Liverpool, Manchester, and it's just been in there so much historically. But still, I feel you can still be competitive, but still understand to embrace each other. But they still couldn't take that competitiveness element out of it, of you're Man U, you're Liverpool, you're this, you're that. They couldn't take it out, which was difficult, and I felt that it was a problem for the national team.
I think especially because so many of them were boyhood clubs, like Jamie Carragher, Steven Gerrard. It was such a big thing. It's interesting as well when you look at where the captains are playing on the pitch in the World Cup by position, because only 8% of them are goalkeepers, 37% defenders, 24% midfielders, and 31% forwards. Has this ever come into your mind?
Goalkeeper
I'm actually surprised about that.
Thank God we're not having more goalkeepers as captains. It's great.
I'm surprised that there's more forwards than midfielders, honestly. I think that's such a position that you go through deeper waves of confidence faltering. And when you're a leader on a team, that's not, I mean, at least teams I've been on, when I captained, it was very inconsistently. I always had managers that switched it around. I would think it'd be more so midfielders, defenders that would primarily be the captains.
I'm not surprised about the forwards, if I'm honest. I think that I'll move with the times and society, and I think it's more of a stats data thing now, and goal scorers, and everyone, whether it's clubs and companies and corporations, want goal scorers and match winners. So now all of a sudden they're becoming more captains than your regular standard, probably midfielder, defender, and goalkeeper. I would always say probably defenders and midfielders are the main two that are generally captains. Goalkeepers do become captains, but it's when they're more senior, really older figures. Not Tony. Why not? I'm just saying.
I wonder if we did, took all 48 teams and you watch them and can figure out, were those the leaders in that group, right? Like, and they just happen to be in different positions, right? Because I'm assuming we're going to look at Mo Salah at Egypt, and he's a leader in the group, right? So he fits in that category. Yeah, that would be really, really interesting. But yeah, it's goalkeeper discrimination.
Tony, what do you
It's
say?
when they get older. Goalkeepers have to reach a certain level of maturity.
What do you
All
say
that
to
diving.
people, though,
keeps
that say captains can't be goalkeepers because you can't see enough of the pitch from the back? Because
Well,
there
you
is
see
that
it all.
narrative,
You see
right?
right? And the narrative always was that the captains had a privilege to talk to the referees. There's never been a law written in FIFA that the captains have a privilege to talk. It was a privilege that the referees were giving the captains to say, hey, you take care of your group. Yeah, but they don't have to be old. I was 23 in 1994, Nigel. If that's old, then I'll take it, I guess, right? So.
Can you believe the one moment we're giving Nige credit for being young,
Right.
now he's calling everyone else old?
I just said goalkeepers. But no.
Just Tony then.